What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Keith, and I'm here as always with my brother Nell, but we got the man, the myth, the legend, the originator, my brother Walt, on here with us as well. We're doing the March Madness pod, man, so it's only right we get the guy on here. So let's do this thing. Let's hop right into it. Walt, Nell, how y'all doing, man?
Hey, man.
It's good to be on here with Brother Walt, man.
Feels
Good to see you, brother.
Feels good, my brother.
What'd you say when we first got on here?
Yeah, it's been too long. I've been on my press run. It's been award season, as Brother Nell said, and coming off coming off the Oscar and whatnot. So hey, man, God is good. Life is good.
Hey, man, it's always good to have you on here, man. It's March Madness season. We've made it. My boy Nell said he was up studying all day. You know it's crazy when Nell's getting into the college basketball.
Bracketology. Bracketology 101.
Hey, so here we go. This 2 for 2 bracketology. This is what you're gonna get. Before we get into the bracket super deep, man, we got to start with one of the bigger stories of the college basketball season. Miami of Ohio fell just short of completing the undefeated season. I think they lost, they were 24-1 or something like that. One loss team, but the real story was that when they lost that game in their conference tournament, the conversation became, do they get into the field? Sure enough, Miami of Ohio made it into the field, but they made it in as a play-in team at that. I don't know how many one-loss teams we've seen in history. That's more of a Nell's alley with those kind of impressive numbers. But man, a one-loss team and they get into a playing game. How do y'all feel about that? Do you think they deserved it, or were y'all on the side of they shouldn't even been in the tournament in the first place?
I'll let you go first, Brother Walt.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should be in a tournament. When I saw people saying that they were even a bubble team, it's crazy, right? Like, no matter who you're playing, winning games as often as they did, as consistently as they did, and they had a lot of like crazy games like down to the wire, right? Like, that's a good basketball team. Like, winning is not easy. We see a bunch of teams from trash conferences all the time. Nobody runs the table, right? Running the table, no matter who you are, is difficult. They played who was in front of them, and they handle business. It's nearly impossible, right? Like, they had all the pressure in the world in a tournament to maintain that. Unfortunately, they didn't complete, the conference win. And it also like just brings up like a lot of questions that a lot of people say, especially for these mid-major programs, when the team that dominates all season has one bad night, their entire season is thrown out, right? So like, I think it would have been a disservice to all the mid-major basketball if Miami of Ohio was left out of the tournament, right? Because it's saying nothing mattered in this entire season until your conference tournament, right? So like, I thought the resume, of course, they wasn't going to have the Power 5 wins or anything like that, but they handled business as best as they could. And it's not like they got blown out either in a conference, in a conference tournament either. So we're competitive. Unfortunately, didn't run a table, but hey, man, they got a lot to prove. I want to see them silence the critics in that playing game. A little bit disrespectful that you play that well and you might not even get a real shot at the real big dance, but hey, man, at least that they're in. So the ball is in their hands, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on your side with that. I understand the schedule, not really having those big wins, those against the upper conferences, but for me, they're in. They're going to get in, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like you said, they got to their conference tournament, and then they lost that one game. I think it was a 4-point game in overtime, so it wasn't like a terrible loss, but still, you got probably the biggest game of their season at that point. And then, they lose it. It wasn't an egg, but still, it's how these guys think when they kind of putting the brackets together. So I'm not upset about it. I knew they would get in. I think it definitely, if they weren't in at all, I think that would have been a huge disservice for mid-majors to, I think, wasn't it, I think they won, did they win 30 games or was it?
Yeah, it was they were 31-1.
Yeah, they started 31-0. Like, it's hard to leave a team. Like you said, no matter who you're playing, you still got to go out there and win all those games. To win 31 in a row, that's tough to do. So they definitely deserve to be in the tournament.
Yeah, historic season, nevertheless, for them. The numbers, I think their final numbers, they were 269 in the Kim Palm, 64 net rating, and they had the 298th strength of schedule. So a lot of people were making a big deal about that. But again, like you said, how many teams win 30 games in a season, right? Like, no matter what level, no matter what conference that you're in, that's remarkable, especially considering that they're supposed to be considered at on that same level as other teams in the MAC. And I mean, they ran the table, they won their out of conference games. They did everything that if any other college team did this, if a Power Five school did this, I mean, we saw it essentially almost, but we're crowning them king, and not even having a conversation. So I mean, at the very least, you got to let them get in there. Sucks they got a playing game with SMU, but this gives them. This is now their next biggest game of their season, right? It's to now more doubters are going to be watching and more haters are going to be out there to try to prove or see them falter. So hopefully for the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, they come to play when they get in there with SMU. But SMU's another really good team. So we'll look at it. We'll see. I'm guessing you guys don't have any Miami of Ohio running the table in your bracket, huh? Nothing.
I was tempted to have
Nothing.
them win.
Not this way.
Yeah.
Not this
I
way.
definitely
You
got
can't
them. I got them winning round one. Actually, I got them winning their play-in and
Oh.
then winning round one. I think they just got something to
Oh
prove.
wow.
It's only right
Okay.
that they prove that they belong.
Hey, if that happens, hold on. I'm trying
It's
to
Tennessee.
my
They play
bracket. I
Tennessee,
got
bro. They play
I was
Tennessee.
gonna say I'm over here.
11-6 matchup. 11-6 and 12-5 is always
Tennessee
dangerous.
is a team. They're famous for some tournament
up and down.
letdown. So
Yeah, they
they're
could.
going some tournament letdown. But let's get right into it, guys. Looking at the regions, man. Which of these regions are you all most excited about, man?
I mean, I'm excited about the East for obvious reasons.
Blue Blood City.
My Blue Devils are in it. Ton of historic programs in that region too. I think I saw somewhere in one region it has like the most combined national championships. Obviously, you got UCLA, you got Michigan State, you got Duke, UConn got a bunch of multiple national champion winners in there. So I think that one will be exciting. But the one I think I'm most excited for, because I think at some point we're going to get the rematch of the national championship from last year, Florida and Houston. So I'm excited to see them meet up in the Elite Eight. I think that'll happen. I think that'll be a fun matchup.
Yeah, and that one's in Houston. So that would be.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely going with the East too. I feel like, to your point, they got so many conference champs in their in their region as well. UConn, who has been like the powerhouse in the last couple of years, and then Duke as the number one overall seed to get this draw. I'm a little confused.
Incredible.
I'm a little confused as to how that happened. St. John's, tough, very tough. I'm scared for Nell with that. We got, Darren Peterson.
I'm scared too.
We got Darren Peterson over there. Was it Mikel Brown over there? Right. So we got nothing but top 10 picks, nothing but blue bloods, like y'all said. So excited to see what that East region does, and if Nell's Blue Devils can make it out alive.
I hope so for you.
I
I knew everybody was going to feel the Eastern region, right? The East region, it's got the Blue Bucks, like you said. It's got the legendary coaches. It's got all the guys that everybody knows. Everybody's excited to watch. But that Midwest region, man, of course, it's got some exciting teams as well, right? It's got my guys over there, right? You get first round matchup contrast of styles with Georgia and St. Louis. I think that's what this is all about. You got my guy Santos Cyril, who I did have a pleasure of coaching back in my brief AAU coaching stint. He played center for Georgia, going against Avila at St. Louis, who's big, uses body, not athletic at all. So that could be exciting. You got an Alabama team that likes to score it. That Alabama Hofstra matchup has a lot of excitement. Speedy Claxton coaching at Hofstra. So, you talked about the Miami of Ohio potential with, Tennessee. You got teams like Tennessee, Nada Mint, those guys over there as well. And UVA, a team that I think is, hey, we got to talk about a turnaround job for UVA. The team they were last year, and to be now number 3 seed, 5 losses. They got some cool teams over there too. And Iowa State has, my guy Taryn Lipsey, point guard. I always talk about guards ruling in March. And I think, he's one of those guys that has potential as well. So a lot of fun in the Midwest as well. But the Eastern region, I don't know why I keep saying Eastern. The East region definitely will be the one to watch. And because those Duke boys at the 1 seed, I mean, no, you didn't make the call, bro. There's no way y'all get that draw.
We'll
Woo,
see, man. We'll
that
see.
8-9 winner coming for you, man. Hey,
To be the best, you gotta beat the best. So we
I mean,
accept it.
really,
We accept all
look,
challenges.
looking at that East region, though, you see. We'll get to that later. I'm not even gonna jump the gun on that. Thinking about, we talked about some players, talked about you know, different teams in March. March is about building legends, right? And it's the moment. It's a moment in time for teams. We think about Kemba Walker. You think about Shabazz Napier, right? That's what I think of my childhood right there. Those point guards in March that led those UConn teams on crazy runs. And then you got those Louisville teams. That Louisville team that went on the crazy run. They had the crazy
Yeah.
story, right? Like, wow, the UNC, Villanova, Duke, like all of it. So players primed to become March legends. And I want us to look at this, and there's a ton of players out there. And I want to hear some of the guys that you guys have on your list. I had to make my list lengthy because I know we're going to have some overlap. But I'm excited to hear what guys do you think out there could be that next big name in March and have his moment?
You can go ahead, Walt.
All right, I'll start. I mean, obviously, guards run March. We know that. And I think we'll all talk about the obvious ones. But before we get into like the super obvious ones, I got to start with Tyler Tanner at Vanderbilt.
Ooh,
Small
I got
guard,
him on my list.
I had him too.
six foot guy.
Sir.
But he gets after it, right? Like he competes day in and day out. Vanderbilt had a nice little run in the SEC. I think that was, as far as the teams that kind of stepped up this year, that kind of shocked the world a little bit. Vanderbilt, right? You got the JMU guy at the helm over there, former JMU guy at the helm over there doing things. And Tyler Tanner is just gonna set the pace. Reminds me of a guy like a Trey Burke when he made a nice little run. A Tyler Eulis
that
type of
name.
guy, right? Undersized,
Love that name too.
Heart of a
Yes, sir.
giant. And someone that's going, hey, at a 4 seed, Vanderbilt can make a lot of noise in this tournament. So I think Tyler Tanner will definitely introduce himself to the world. And then, my guy, Darius Acuff. I think y'all will probably talk about him a little bit. But Darius Acuff, I don't think personally I've seen a better freshman season at the point guard position. I think what he did this year, and Coach Cal has had some great guys. But there's no one that has like demanded the room like Darius Acuff has. Just the efficiency that he plays with, the pace that he plays with, every big moment you can count on him. Doesn't turn the ball over, and with his usage rate, it's incredible what he does day in and day out. So that Arkansas team, they scare me just because everyone else on that team is so up and down, right? Malik Thomas can score 40 one night and give you 0-10 the next night, right? But Darius Acuff has been the steadiest player in the country this season, and so I definitely got to go with him. And then the other guard I'll go with is Keaton Vogler from Illinois. This guy, it seems like he's kind of disappeared a little bit down the stretch, but I think there's something special about 6'6" guards that can get wherever they want on the court, can play at their own pace. He's probably not the most aggressive guy, but he's scored I think 40 already this year. He's a guy, I think Illinois is a team that didn't have the best close to the season, but I feel like he's someone that is a future NBA player. He's someone that has Illinois is not a team that gets a lot of attention outside of Big Ten country. He's someone that I think a lot of people will say, this guy looks like a potential, top 3 to top 5 pick in the NBA draft. And can, fill up the stat sheet. So those are my top 3 guys. I got a couple of under radar guys, but I'm gonna kick it to Nell and Keese to see kind of who they talking about.
Yeah, so like y'all said, guards dominate this tournament. I had Tanner on there as well. Acuff, obviously, first player since Pete Maravich back in LSU in the 70s to lead the SEC in scoring and assists. So he's prime for a couple breakout games. But outside of the guards, I do think AJ Devonta is gonna light it up. I think he has a chance to pull a couple upsets. Not getting player of the year. Obviously, you saw lit a fire under him in the tournament when he came out and dropped 40 in that first game. Bruce Thornton from Ohio State, all-time leading scorer. Got them back in the tournament for the first time in 4 years. Been there for been there for 4 years, which is, rare for, a lot of college players these days. So I think he's going to come out. This being his last year, he might light it up a bit. Not having a lot of NBA talk, so it's a chance for, obviously a big chance for him, on the stage to, put up some points and dominate. Flemings, we know if it was for Acuff, he'd probably be the most talked about guard this year. So averaging 16 and 5 this year, pretty much going to be a lottery pick probably. So I think you think he's going to have a great showing in the tournament. And then for my Duke Blue Devils, I think Boozer is going to have a breakout, but not the Boozer that y'all thinking about. I think my boy Caden, he stepped up. He stepped up the last couple of games.
You're gonna need that
with some injuries that we've had, and he's been showing out, and he's been stepping up. So I think if he continues to start, we're going to be relying on him, and I think he could show out and have some good games.
Yeah, no, that's big. You guys have great list. I got some guards left for you though. You guys left some guys off of there for me, and I appreciate that. My guy Christian Anderson out of Texas Tech. Talk about point guards in March. One of the best shooters that'll be in this draft, this class. He's the one thing that I'm so upset that Juwan Howard couldn't make it one more year to get him on campus, because Christian Anderson was committed to Michigan forever prior to Juwan Howard getting the axe. But I mean, talk about, a Texas Tech team that they were without their best guy, JT Toppin, right? So if they're gonna make a run, it'll be this guy. He kind of was banged up in that Big 12 tournament. Shout out to that terrible floor and everything they did to those guys for the first couple nights, man. But I think he's a guy that's prepared to lead a team. Another guy, LeBaron Philon Jr. out of Alabama, already lights it up, man. Averages over 21, almost 22 points a game. That's insane at the college level. Like, people don't understand, averaging 15 is great, is a great college season. Like, that's great, right? But to average 20 plus, obviously we heard about the things that's going on with Alabama right now with, some of his backcourt mates. So a lot of pressure will be on this guy to deliver for Alabama. And he's one of those guys that if he gets hot, they can go, they can go. And you got to give respect to the Big 12 Player of the Year. I mean, Jaden Bradley out of Arizona, a lot of people talked about, his selection as a Big 12 Player of the Year. I personally also believe AJ, I thought he was deserving of that, but, the point guard, the engine of, the number one team in that conference. You think about Jaden Bradley in Arizona, 1 seed. We talk about guards leading in March. I think Jaden Bradley's one of those guys, and he has all the tools to lead this team, to a deep run and have some very big moments. We saw in the Big 12 Conference Tournament where he hit the shot, at the end of the game. So he's already got that in him. And then my last guard for you guys, I don't know why these all were guards. I'll throw my boy Yaxel Landenborg in there too. He's not a guard. He's at the end. Y'all knew that was coming. But anyway, Nick Boyd out of Wisconsin. Now, I've watched Wisconsin play my Michigan Wolverines twice now, and he's a guy that's a killer. You talked a little bit about some other guards earlier. He has that same instinct. He's a veteran guard. He played with that FAU team that Dusty May had that went on that run a couple years back, and so this is a guy that's averaging 20 points a game as well with Wisconsin. Nell talked a little bit about earlier how he feels about Wisconsin early on in the tournament, but if this team's gonna make a run, it'll be behind a guy like Nick Boyd, and he'll have a chance to lead another magical March run. So, and then like I said, like Yaxel Landenborg, of course. I would love to say Elliot Cadeau, but he still got that UNC stench on him every now and again. Can't get right over there, but we'll see. We'll see. What were some of your unheralded guys that you had, Walt?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got to start with Dominique Daniels Jr. From Cal Baptist.
That's the little guard. Okay.
Yeah. He 5'10", 185.
The tip was crazy.
from Compton, California. But I'm not going to pretend like I watch a lot of Cal Baptist basketball. I'm gonna honestly tell you that I'll be forgetting that Cal Baptist is even a D1 program. But their nickname is the Lancers now, so it's a little something, a little place in my heart for the Cal Baptist Lancers. And as I'm scrolling through Twitter, right, I see this highlight, and they're like most explosive guard in the country, and I'm looking, right. I'm like, is this a semi-pro? Is this high school? All I saw was CBU on the jersey, CBU on the little the little score bug, and I'm like, is this like what division is this, right? And then I look a little bit more into it, and
ABU
it's Dominic.
vibes.
Yeah, bro, and it's Dominique Day. It was from Cal Baptist. Average 23 points per game. 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 44% shooting. Average over 19 the last 3 seasons. He's matched up with Darren Peterson and Kansas in that first round, so it's gonna be some fireworks, right? Like we got 2 super explosive guards. With Dominique Daniels, man, at 5'10", it's always one of these guards from one of these teams that make a little bit of noise. So I'm expecting Dominique Daniels to introduce himself to the world. Versus potentially the number 1 pick, and what a better place to to make a name for yourself.
Have to keep my eye on. Keep my eye on.
Yeah. No, you gotta watch the tape now. The first
crazy.
movie hit
It's
was
crazy,
something I've
bro.
never seen in my life. I was like,
crazy.
wait a minute. I
Yeah.
had to stop it and go back to it. I'll
Yeah.
make sure you see that.
No,
That's
yeah, he
that's a
moved.
crazy tape.
Yeah,
he
send that
could
to me.
definitely he could definitely move.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
think
and
about Compton hoops, it fits. He got that
Yeah.
West Coast vibe to him for sure.
And then one other quick guard. I know we talked about Miami of Ohio a lot, of course. The MAC also had another team that was pretty impressive this year. Akron only lost
Maction.
1 game in conference.
Mhm.
They only lost 5 total games. A lot of people got them potentially winning a first round matchup as well. But they got a guard, Savari Johnson. Another small guard, 6 foot,
Cuzzo.
170. He's a guy that very efficient. He's a guy that can fill it up. Averaging 20 points per game on 50% at 6 feet. In college, right? 5 assists per game as well. So Savari Johnson is a guy I think he will, make his name known, matching up with Christian Anderson and Texas Tech. No JT Toppin. So hey, who knows? Maybe the MAC can get 2 teams advancing past the first round.
That's a hot one. That's a hot one for sure. And so, you're right on the topic of those teams that can maybe, do a little something, cause a little commotion. We call those Cinderella runs. And so, what we thinking about? I want to hear you guys' top 3 teams that can make a Cinderella run. And when I say Cinderella, all right, it's not just a game. You know what I'm saying? They got to make it into the weekend. Make a good run. So let me hear what you guys got. Top 3.
Three was hard to come up for me. So I think
I stretched
Cinderella
it to
teams.
3.5.
I think Cinderella teams are kind of starting to die out a bit. I saw a stat earlier back in 2019. There was 957 transfers, and just last year there was over 2,500. So just the continuity and the chemistry, which was a big reason for these mid majors shaking things up in March. I think it's just starting to become more of a rare occasion in this day and age in college basketball. Especially last year when you saw all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four, just the second time in history I think that happened. So it's hard for me to pick 3 Cinderella teams because I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of Cinderella teams in my bracket so far. But I do like UCLA. I know we talked about this. You said earlier you were a little down on them, but I'm a little high on them just because of who's in their bracket. I think they got experience. I think they can shoot. They don't turn the ball over. So, I think they can handle UCF. I think they'll upset UConn. And I give them a good shot to upset Michigan State as well.
Okay. UCLA and Mick Cronin. I just feel like Mick Cronin, man, he's been doing too much complaining all year for me. And I can't rock with him just off the strength of that. They talk about Donovan Dent, and if he's able to play, obviously he's a very talented player out there for him, but I'm still not high. I could see that UCF team knocking them off, man.
Maybe. I got a lot of teams, double-digit seeds, maybe getting an upset or 2, but like I said, I don't know about deep runs, like deep into the Elite 8, Sweet 16, like, we usually see with the Wichita States, VCUs back in the day, all those squads.
Yeah. I get what you, I definitely, I agree with what you're saying about just the landscape of college basketball makes this a lot harder, right? I think I said when we first got on here, you might see a team get a game, right? Like more like one of these double-digit seeds will get a game, maybe even 2. But when you think across the board, you're looking at we know who's the best teams in the country. The best teams in the country were the top 4 teams in the country all year. We talked about them all year. Maybe then there's the next tier of those teams that were kind of there. So it's hard to say Cinderella. I agree. But Walt, you got anybody, or did you have 2 more now? Or now you
Nah,
just rock
honestly,
with
I
UCLA?
can't
That's
come
you
up.
one and done.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
one and done. I'm with you.
Like
I
I said, I got
forced
a
mine
couple
too.
double
It's
digit
okay.
seeds
I,
that's gonna
I
get an
forced
upset or
mine too.
two.
Yeah.
I forced mine too.
Yeah, now went the safe route. He went with a former borderline blue blood that underachieved this season to kind of become the Cinderella, and we saw it not too long ago, right? Like UCLA, what was that, like 4 years ago or so, when they were like what, a 10 or 11 seed, and they made it to, I believe,
Yeah,
the
with
Elite
Tyler
Eight.
Campbell.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So I remember that. So definitely a lot of potential there. If they are hitting on all cylinders, very possible. I was kind of in the same boat now, right? Like I didn't have many teams that I could see making a lot of noise beyond maybe that first round, even advancing to that second weekend. Like I said, if Miami of Ohio beats Tennessee, then I think, they have a pretty solid matchup against Virginia. But I also have Virginia in my primary bracket going pretty far as well, just because I felt like that region was just kind of favorable for them. In that same region, Santa Clara, I have them beating Kentucky in round one. And then Iowa State, who is a team, seems like a veteran team, always has a bunch of transfers. But Santa Clara is also a veteran team, so Santa Clara is another team that I saw. High Point, I had them winning the first round as well. So I think a team like that against Wisconsin, but then the second round they play against Arkansas, and I don't think my guy Acuff is ready to go home just yet. So like those are just teams that I can see potentially winning one game. But the only team that I might get a little excited about, I got to bring out my boombox. I got to start
Oh
getting hyped,
no.
man. Arakan is back.
No,
Arakan is
sir.
back. McNeese State is back. 12 seed. We know about them 12-5 upsets. Of course, they're playing against my guy Tyler Tanner and Mark, Bington and Vanderbilt. But McNeese, man, McNeese State, that's a team that makes some noise. And they got the aura with them. If they win against Vanderbilt, Nebraska is a 4 seed who I'm just not high on Nebraska. The Big Ten this year was not the strongest. Nebraska is a team that they still got to prove a little bit more to me that they are a basketball program. So then, McNeese State, if they can win that 12-5 matchup, I like them potentially against Nebraska. They've done it before, right? Like these are teams that have that pedigree. The moment won't be too big for them. I think they got a lot of, new coaches and guys transferred out and whatnot, but a team that has won before in March, a mid-major that is not unused to the big moment. So McNeese State is probably my team that I can see as far as that 12 seed advancing past that first weekend.
Wow, okay. McNeese that's an interesting way, and I like that you went that route, because it helps me out. I got the 13 down there in Troy as a team that could potentially make a run. Like you, I'm not too high on Nebraska, right? They run some really good sets, good motion, great shooting team. But you got to think about the tournament setting. A lot of times the jumper might not always travel with you, right? They play with a different basketball in the tournament. They play at a neutral site in the tournament. You got to get adjusted to different things. A Troy team out of the Fun Belt, if they can beat them. You talk about Vandy, you talk about McNeese. A Vandy team that I think is very susceptible to losing. With the physicality of Troy, how they play, very balanced team. And then similarly, if McNeese wins, that's even better. Now we're playing with house money, and now you got Troy over here looking at a day with Florida. Now, is that in my bracket? Absolutely not. But a team that can happen. Also, a very popular one is USF, right? USF is a team. They got a favorable first round matchup with a very inconsistent Louisville team. Mikael Brown Jr. We talked about him as a potential, top 5, top 10 NBA draft pick, but he has been dealing with a back injury all year, and he missed the conference tournament for him. Louisville, outside of that, they just seem like one of those teams, we were really excited about their potential in the preseason, new coach, all these things. But South Florida, they can beat them. Michigan State can't shoot to save their lives. Cannot shoot to save their lives, and it kills them in tournament time. So you think about that, they win, and they go on against another team that the panel here, we seem to not all be too high on. Are we loving, well, outside of Nell loving UCLA, we know we're not feeling too good about UConn. So, there. Same deal with Troy. Do I have it happening? No, but are they potential Cinderellas that I see? Absolutely. Now, on the flip, though, a team that I am really interested in, and we talked about him, the young buck, AJ DeBansa, and BYU, a team that I think, they lost a very, very key piece in the middle of the year, right? They lost him, and they've kind of had to overcome, but they looked all right to me in the Big 12 tournament. They went toe to toe with Houston. They went toe to toe out there with those teams with AJ DeBansa, and he broke Kevin Durant's scoring record in the conference tournament. And when you listen to the kid talk, and he talks about what he's chasing and greatness. He's one of those guys, like, he just has that it factor and that willpower. I think in March he's going to be the best guy on the floor every time they step out, and I see him really utilizing that. And I mean, a matchup with either Texas or NC State. Love Will Wade. Texas is one of those teams I feel like they're in the playing every year now. So they're used to this type of thing. But they beat them. We talked about a susceptible Gonzaga program. And truthfully, that leads to my other team that I think could also make a Cinderella, Miami. Love Jay Lucas and the job that he's done. Not very high on Purdue. You can see a BYU, and I do have a BYU Miami Sweet 16. I do have that. So that's a 6 seed and a 7 seed. Two teams that I do think can actually make a really big push and do some things. Miami's a very physical team under Jay Lucas. They got my guy Trey Donaldson that came over from Auburn, then Michigan over there. They got Malik Reneau from Indiana, who looks night and day from how he looked last year. He looks like the guy that they expected at Indiana last year. And so, hey, get high, you play some defense. Those are. Don't be surprised. That Sweet 16 BYU Miami is going to be a fun one. So, but to piggy off of that, man. Now on the top seeds, who are those top teams that we have on upset alert in this tournament early on?
Well, Walt talked about Akron earlier. Going against Texas Tech, like y'all talked about, JT Toppin going to be out. Christian Anderson, coming back from that groin injury. We'll have to monitor that, see how he plays. This Akron team's coming in hot. They won 20 of their last 21 games. Got multiple guys averaging double figures. So it's a balanced attack. They're playing well. So I think they got a chance to pull an upset opening week. I wouldn't say this is really much of an upset now, but it's still going to be. I'm going to take VCU over North Carolina.
Yeah.
They just haven't looked like the same team unfortunately, without Caleb Wilson. Sorry, Walt. I would have loved to have seen him play because I mean his highlight tape this season was insane too.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not coming back to save them in this tournament. VCU is known to spoil some parties in March. So with this upset, I don't think it's much. I don't think with this injury, I don't think it's much of an upset. But I think VCU, the 11th seed, will take it over North Carolina. And last one, I got Kansas. Being on upset alert. They're 10-2, surprisingly, without Darren Peterson, only 12-7 with him. I just don't think they've really figured out how to play consistently with him in the lineup. And then, you never know. He might cramp up before the game. He might cramp up during the game and might not come back in. So, with all that, being around, they're not really rebounding isn't their strength either. So with all that coming into play, I think Kansas could be on upset alert, and they've lost in the first or second round in 5 of the last 6 years, with the only one being when they won the championship. So I mean, they're known for early exits.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to jinx my Tar Heels. But they came up in my thoughts of teams that could potentially make a run. Double-digit seeds. I thought about VCU, just because North Carolina without Caleb Wilson is, just a team that probably doesn't scare a lot. Hubert Davis. I'm still not the biggest Hubert Davis fan, even though he's won some big games. But I'm kind of with you on there now. I don't love our chances this year. I got us winning one game, but then we matched up against Illinois and Keaton Vogler, so completely understand that. For me, man, like a team that I think will probably win the first round game, may win the second round game, but after that, I'm having some reservations. It's a team that I have been super, super high on all season. It's a team that, if you ask me probably earlier this season, at a certain point, this would probably be a team that I would say is not, if not my favorite, up there to be my favorite. And it's Kelvin Sampson in Houston this year. They have been a team that has just fallen so short in those big games. They
Yeah.
have not given me any confidence that they can win a big game. And I'm shocked because like this is a team that has like so many vets that have played in the NCAA championship, last year. They have two freshmen that will probably be lottery picks, right? And Flemings and Sinek, but they just are missing something. Like I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. But it's a team that I'm just scared about. And Kelvin Sampson, I'm not sure if he has a lot of faith in them as well. So I think if St. Mary's wins their first round, I think St. Mary's has a chance to beat Houston in round two. And then if Illinois makes it past, and let's just say they beat them, I don't see Houston getting past the Sweet 16 if they are playing like they've been playing the last couple of games. So they've been falling short in a lot of big games, big moments. So that's like a team that I don't love right now. Alabama's another team. Obviously, like they're a 4 seed. But Keith talked about it. Phelan is an amazing talent, but Aiden Holloway is out right now. Who knows? It always seems like something crazy like this happens. A huge scandal happens
What are they doing
every
in
couple of years
Tuscaloosa, man?
for
Come
Alabama.
on.
So man, whoever the feds were watching, they got the backcourt in chaos. But Brandon Miller made some noise, regardless of the charge that was up against him. So maybe they'll have a chip on their shoulder. But this. Nate Oates, it seems like this Alabama team was ready to kind of like take that next trajectory maybe a year or so ago. Like they were just a piece away. They got a lottery pick point guard. But this is a team that I think with everything going on is a team that could fall pretty early. And Hofstra as a 13 seed, we know like those 12 and 13 seeds they're a little sneaky. So Hofstra, who knows, maybe they can take out Alabama pretty early. But y'all talked about the transfer portal and stuff a little bit earlier. I don't see too many 1 or 2 seeds being crazy at threat. A threat to lose pretty early. But who knows? Anything can happen in March.
Yeah, you had
That's the
Houston,
beauty
who
of
I
it.
had. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, anything can and will happen. It's one game on one day, and you got to win that game that day. You got to be the better team that day. You guys got a couple of my picks in there. But I mentioned it earlier. Purdue is a team that I can see losing. They have everything, and I told you guys they have everything that you would think about a championship team. They've got the coach, they've got the point guard, they've got a big, they've got shooting. Like they have a guy they can go to at the end of games in Braden Smith. Like I say, he's played a ton of basketball. Yeah, he's was he like I think second on the assist or something. He's up there in some leaderboard, but I mean I don't love their chances if they suit up with Miami or even Missouri. And then down the line, Gonzaga, BYU, whichever one of them, I could see that team. Just something about Purdue. Every year they find a way to be that team that underperforms. Similarly, I talked highly about them, but now I also have some reservations with them. The UVA guys, man, if they win that game, then they have to go play a Tennessee team. That's a 6 seed. This is a team that underperformed, right? And like they're the hardest teams to kind of plan for in March. You got Tennessee, a team that early in the year you thought they were ranging somewhere between 2 to 4 as a seed, and they land as a 6, just off of they can be kind of inconsistent. A UVA team having to match up with them second round, that's tough. That's tough. Or even a SMU. Let's say SMU comes out there with that's a team that you've played before in conference, right? You don't want to play them again in March, so not ideal for UVA. And then also a team I don't they could, I wouldn't be surprised if they go on and win the whole thing. I'm a Dan Hurley fan. He is great for basketball, as psychotic and crazy as he is. He's great for basketball. You need him in it, but I would not be surprised if UCLA, like Nell said, or UCF, in that second round, give them fits, and they don't have this isn't the UConn team that had all those pros on it, right? It's not that from across the board, and so they're susceptible to make some mistakes. The Big East brand of basketball, to me, makes it very hard in March. A lot of those teams, St. John's, same way, right? Like they're built to win the Big East, sure, but that style in March is rarely that you either winning it or you're cooked first round. It's one or the other usually, right? So I that's a team I could see also going down early. But let's move into our Final Four, guys, and in our championship prediction. This is what you're here for, right? We talk. The upsets are what it is, right? Everybody's bracket. The first day is ruined after that first crazy loss. But if your Final Four is still intact, you feel good about yourself. You feel good about yourself, and that's what we're here to really, really see. So, who do you guys have in your Final Four, and what's your championship game and winner? Let's hear it.
I mean, I'll just start off by saying this isn't my final draft. I still got a couple more brackets and drafts to go through before I finally pick one, because I'm not really feeling good about this one. But, as I'm going through it, this is just my early thoughts. It's kind of like writing a paper. You write a draft and then you go through it again. And
you got till Thursday.
Actually, yeah, like I got time. I got till the 19th. So, but right now I got Duke and Houston, and then I got, God, I hate the other side, but I'm gonna go Michigan, Arizona for now. But I don't like that. That's definitely going to change. I had Purdue in there at first, but then I'm like, nah, I don't like that. I flirted with Wisconsin. I'm all over the place right now.
Who's the champ?
Fair.
Championship matchup. Say it. Michigan Duke rematch. Say it.
My Blue Devils haven't won in 10 years. It's time. It's time. Bring it home, Booze. It's time to bring it home. 25 years after his daddy won a national title, it's time for the Twins to bring it home.
That's a good little story.
Very, very nice. No, very nice.
Now, will that happen? Probably not.
Ooh.
Can't wait. Don't be first. The worst part is you just don't want your team to be the first one seed to go. That's really what you don't want to lose at all. But if you're the first one, when that first top seed goes down, man.
I don't think we'll lose to St. John's, but that game still scares me.
It's gonna be a fight. They gonna fight.
It's gonna be a nasty dogfight in the second half of that game.
Yeah, I mean Patino got them boys turned up right now. They got a lot of energy. Being on a neutral floor, should help Duke. The fans usually travel, so that'll be a nice little battle. Yeah, man. I guess I'll turn into the villain on here. I'm on here with a Duke fan. I'm on here with a Michigan fan. At some point I had to become this person. So for me, Final Four, got 3 1 seeds and a 3. So up top, I got Duke versus Florida in my Final Four matchup. And then the West Midwest Final Four matchup, I have the Arizona Wildcats going up against the Virginia Cavaliers. At the bottom of that conference, the bottom of that region. It just worked out that way. Apologies, Keys, to Michigan, who I think is a very good team. But just this Virginia team, they haven't lost to anyone other than Duke or North Carolina. They lost to Duke twice, and they lost to North Carolina once by 5 in the new year. They've only lost 3 games in the new year. This is a team that through the ACC tournament has shown that they can play with just about anyone. I think this team has something with them. Ryan Odom is a great coach, and these are guys that seem to get a little bit more confident. So unfortunately, I couldn't see myself putting all 1 seeds in the Final Four. So man, Michigan was just the odd team out.
That can't happen back-to-back years, right? It just can't.
So that's what it came down to. And then as far as my championship, sorry now, I got Florida, the defending champs. I just think too much size. They're gonna give Boozer some fits, man. Like, they're just gonna throw it at him. So I got Florida getting to the championship. And then I got Arizona advancing to the national championship as well. I think Arizona ultimately will be my champion. I think they're just the most well-balanced team. They have
Arizona
the size.
Invitational, as Barkley said.
Yeah, I mean they have all the size. They have the vets in the backcourt. They have the talented freshmen. Just a perfect storm, right? Like, this is a team that hasn't lost many games this year. They can beat you in a bunch of different ways. The only thing that worries me a little bit is just so much pressure on this team. This is a team that has carried being number 1 for most of the season. They battled through the tough Big 12 this year. I thought it was the most impressive conference, top to bottom. This season shocked a lot of people. So Arizona in a close one versus Florida in a national championship to break up the repeat.
Wow. Dang. I didn't expect that from you, Walt. I expected that from Nell. I mean,
that's crazy.
Who are we losing to that's getting you? We're losing to UVA? Oh my God. I texted my boy, he's a UVA fan. I said, see you in the Elite 8. So Hope to see him there. But dang, okay, that hurt. We lose one game and it's like that. All right, you know, I got a Final Four that is almost all 1 seeds as well, 3 1 seeds, and then there's another team. I got Duke, I got Florida. I agree. I think that's locked in. I feel like no matter how it shakes out in between, I think that's what you'll see. And then I got my Michigan guys, of course, and then I got Arkansas. Why? Because I'm a man of the moment. I'm a prisoner of the moment. There's A Cuff. I'm with Walt. I'm loving it. I think for all the reasons that we love Arkansas, we also hate Arkansas, right? You mentioned it. Everybody else can be inconsistent. You don't know what you're gonna get out of them. I think Billy Richmond is one of the key cogs to this thing for them as well. He has to be unstoppable. But at the end of the day, I think A Cuff's got a little bit of that magic to him. Coach Cal's got a little bit of that magic. Of course, he's been there. And so I could see Arkansas making a run and getting to that Final Four, losing to the eventual national champions in my Michigan Wolverines, and in what will be a rematch. It'll be a rematch of the battle in DC, where it's only right. The best basketball game that you watched all year, it's only right that you get a second opportunity at it. And this time, you got a guy down, we got a guy down. It'll be fair. It'll be all fair. And then my guys will get their get back, and we'll do this right for Michigan for once. Jeez, get us over the hump. I deserve that. That's the only way to cap that off. I mean, what other way? We got till Thursday to lock in. Nell said it's just his rough draft. So
Just
who
a rough
knows?
draft.
It's just a rough draft from there. It might just be a rough draft for me. I might go to sleep tonight, have
We'll
a
revise in the
nightmare.
morning.
A Cuff nightmare, and I'm gonna call Nell like, oh, hold on, I need you patch that out, switch these numbers up for me. If you see a graphic of the Final Four, if you listen to the pod and you see a graphic and you see different teams, remember this was just draft A. Y'all heard it here live on the pod. But man, that's gonna do it for this one. It's gonna be an awesome tournament. We made it to March. This is the best time for a basketball fan. You got this. We're not forgetting the women's tournament as well. That's going on. Auntie Dawn, bring it home. Bring it home. So that's going on as well. And then this will lead right into the NBA playoffs. It's fantastic. It's a great time of year. So we'll see. Hopefully one of us could be right. All of us could be wrong in all of this. The fun part of this is most of us will all be wrong. But whoever has the perfect bracket out there, we need to be prepared. They're gonna come get you.
Never happened in history.
Yeah. So they're gonna come get you if you pull that off. But we'll see. The chase is still on. Hopefully we get a new national champion. Otherwise, like you said, right now it's the Florida Gators' championship to lose. So we'll see. But with that, that's gonna do it for this episode of 2 for 2. We got Keith, we got my boy Nell, my boy Walt. We on here. You know where to find us at 2 for 2 Pod on all platforms.
Glad to have you back,
on
Walt.
Apple. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, my
The
brothers.
guy, the
Appreciate the
OG. We
invite.
appreciate it, man. So with that, we appreciate each and every one of y'all. 2 for 2. Keith, Nell, and Walt. We out.